So why does Paint.net take like...
It's a really hard to run program. It has to optimize for your specific computer.
Yeah, I know, but it took a really long time to install. Then it wants a restart? Are you freaking kidding me? So that's what delayed us, actually. We were looking at up to 65% CPU usage while Paint.net optimized the performance of our system here. So, yeah, we're live now. Welcome to the WAN show, guys.
It might even be harder to run than Assassin's Creed Unity.
I don't know. Assassin's Creed Unity looks like it's going to be a bit of a beast. We've got a great show for you today, guys. As you can see, my wonderful co-host was not actually fired. You know, I get it, because I haven't really made that joke in months.
Yeah.
And so we've got a lot of new viewers who legitimately were concerned 2 weeks ago when he wasn't on WAN show that he had been fired. Because I was like, yeah, I fired him.
I could tell whenever WAN show went live, because I'm like overseas, so time is all weird. But I could tell when WAN show went live because my phone would blow up with people being like, "Oh my god, you were actually fired!" No,
he was on vacation in Germany, so
Yay.
he's back now, and we don't have any special guests because he's kind of like our special guest.
Yay!
Yay! We've got a bunch of great topics for you today, though. Far Cry 4 is going to be crazy expensive if you want all of the launch day DLC.
And there's a lot of it.
And there's a lot of it. Wow, we even have some more details about that. Also, there is a real live hoverboard. And if you were to move faster than hearing about it from me and then going to buy it, you would have been able to buy one. All of the production units from the first run have been sold. More about that later.
DSL may be getting an upgrade to get to gigabit speeds, which is... Gigabits, yeah.
That's like a bazillion bits. Actually, it's a very specific number of bits that isn't a bazillion. I knew that. Don't worry.
Okay. Assassin's Creed Unity specs are just dumb.
There's one word for it.
Dumb.
Actually, there could be two words. We could use a synonym
Very
like
dumb.
stupid.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I don't think stupid is right, because stupid can even have like a positive meaning. Like that car is so fast it's stupid. Or it's like
Yeah.
stupid fast.
Yeah.
You don't say dumb fast.
No.
Dumb fast sounds
And I've
like...
heard people say stupid awesome, but I've never heard anyone say dumb awesome.
Dumb awesome. We should start that. We
You
have
need
to...
dumb awesome computer specs
need
to run
shirts.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
We need shirts that say, I'm dumb awesome.
Ubisoft, dumb awesome.
We better roll the intro. And our first sponsor today is Lynda.com, the fun, fast way to learn online. You visit lynda.com/WANshow, and you can learn more about learning more about things that might
Smart
even...
awesome.
Sorry?
Smart awesome.
Smart awesome. Yeah, Lynda.com. Hashtag smart awesome. Please do not blow up their Twitter handle with hashtag smart awesome. I don't need that right now. And, I clicked the wrong... Oh, uh-oh. Okay, hold on. I can fix this. Okay, I'm just going to talk over the music. Phantom Glass is our... Okay, I'm not going to talk over the music. Go away. So Phantom Glass is our second sponsor today. Phantom Glass is a fantastic covering for the front of your phone. Basically, it's exactly the same Gorilla Glass that you already had on your phone, except it's got this super... duper nano coating, and it's awesome. Visit store.phantomglass.com for more details. So thanks to our sponsors, Lynda.com and Phantom Glass, for making the WAN show possible today. And thanks to you for coming back. I was worried you might not. You loved Germany so much.
I did, actually. I really did.
Want to tell us a little bit about your trip before we actually talk about the things that these people paid good money to hear us talk about?
I always come back with the story where my mom would probably kill you if she heard it, so I guess I'll give that one.
Great.
When Brandon and I first got to Berlin.
Hold on a second. Mrs. Slick, this is me turning off my phone right now. Well, I tried. Turning it off better now.
There you go. Now it's
Boop,
off.
phone off.
Now that the phone's off, we will continue. My phone's not even on me.
Good.
So we're good.
All right, there will be no call-ins today.
No. So we get to Berlin, and we're supposed to stay at this hostel. Already not super great situation.
So this was right after,
Immediately after you left.
right after I left.
Yeah,
Okay.
just right afterwards. Actually,
Okay.
everything while Linus was there was fine, so Mom doesn't have to kill you. We get to the hostel, no vacancy. We're like, what? Okay. So we start wandering around trying to find a different one. Every one that we go to, also no vacancy. Random, super cute, super nice British chick is like, oh, by the way, there's this other hostel that has 3 beds still open, which is right there, and points at the sketchiest place I've ever seen in my entire life.
Including that hotel that you stayed in Vegas?
It
or in
looks,
LA?
it looks sketchier on the outside than that hotel did.
Wow.
On the
okay.
outside.
Okay.
Not on the inside. Well, I'll get to that in a second, though. So you walk up, there's no sign at all. The door is covered in, like, random paint and, like, spray paint and crap, and the part of the window pane is broken, and it's just super ghetto. And you open the door and walk in, and the door doesn't properly close. I later end up figuring out that they actually bar the door from the inside when they want it to be closed, because there's no working lock. The place is called Aloha. You have to go up a whole bunch of stairs to get up in there, and all of the stairs are covered in like crap graffiti or like Sharpie writing, and it's just horrible. But it's the only place we could find to stay. You get up to the actual door for the Aloha, and like at this point, I'm basically dragging Brandon. Brandon like, so I'm like, no, we got to do this. We have nowhere else to stay. We have to dump our bag somewhere. So finally get to the door, open it up, and all the walls are like super bright colored, and it looks like they actually had artists come in and like paint on all the walls and stuff. So it's nice once you get into the main area.
Right.
But it is the most ghetto place I've ever stepped foot in before you get to that main area. So there's one of my stories from my trip. That was within the first 24 hours.
Oh, good. Well, I'm sure I can expect a call whether I'm on the show or not from your mom telling me about what a bad person I am. All right, so speaking of me being a bad person, why don't we move into our first topic here?
How does this have anything to do with you being a bad
Yeah, it
person?
doesn't really. Okay, this is Inbox by Gmail. This is not a replacement for Gmail. This is just from first glance, it looks like a new way of organizing your Gmail. I actually really like what I've seen so far. I did request an invite, which is actually the only way to join. So there's a request invite button up here.
I'm gonna go do that.
And we can go ahead and you better do that, Luke, because it looks like it's pretty cool. Actually, the invite system is redonkulous. You send an email to inbox@gmail.com. Not even kidding. And the button's broken. When I click the link, it opens up my Gmail, but doesn't actually open up a...
no to.
Yeah, it doesn't actually auto-populate the to field, so you have to type it in yourself. It's like, oh, come on, Google. Anyway, so the way that it works is you know how we've had for a little while ways of organizing messages, promos, purchases, blah, blah, blah. I think right now I've got promotions and then something else. Anyway, the point is it adds more options like that. You can now add your own categorizations, so things like purchases, like receipts, things like tracking numbers for orders you've made online will be sorted out for you. And this one I really like. So now you can actually preview stuff like, okay, here's your flight information. Here's a quick link so you can check in. It's right there. You don't even have to open emails in order to get all the information that you need from them.
It seems like they took the whole Google Now concept and just mashed it with Gmail.
And turned it
cool.
into email, which I think is great because I don't use Google Now. But I would use Inbox by Gmail because of this right here. Reminders are one of those things where it feels very separate from everything else about Android. Reminders are just kind of this thing. Like you kind of have it sort of next to your email or something. And
it's the same problem that I have with Google Now, which is I actually really like the idea, but I always forget to check it, so it's useless.
Yes. Yeah. And you forget to clean up the old ones and stuff like that. So you mean to use it, but you almost need a reminder to remind you to use it. So having something like this right in my inbox and with ways to manage it, now you can do things like snooze both reminders and emails. Great. Something I've been asking for ages because I loved that about Windows Pocket PC. And I still love that about Windows Phone. It's one of the few things I do love about Windows Phone is the way that you can manage notifications and reminders if you're someone who might be, say, for example, on a filming set and you can't deal with it right now. Well, actually, iOS 8 has some pretty good
The chat pointed
stuff
something
as well.
funny, not to interrupt you, but she's using an iPhone. The chat pointed this out. I didn't notice this.
Yeah, she is. Look at that.
That's
She's using an
kind of
iPhone
hilarious.
6.
Yeah.
Ha!
It's not like a huge deal, but it's just kind of funny. You'd think they would have done enough looking into their own images to make sure that they had their own phones.
Yeah, like that's a Nexus 5.
There you go.
Maybe they're making a point. Maybe the point is this
Works
is for
on all
everyone.
devices.
Yeah. I mean, Google does a reasonably good job of supporting Android. I mean, their Studio app just crashes whenever I reply to comments on iOS 8. Works fine on iOS 7. But
funny.
yeah, I think this is great. Being able to manage notifications, being able to snooze an email, like, hey, let me deal with this in 4 hours or tomorrow or in a couple days is
That would
great.
be great for us, because a lot of times we'll fire an email to each other at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yep.
And I'll get it then and be like, oh, I need to deal with this tomorrow, not now.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, because I use my email as my to-do list. I just have a to-do list draft email to myself that I just edit because it's more handy for me than having a separate app for that, like Evernote.
Yeah.
I do use Keep anytime I need a location-based reminder, but other than that, I use Gmail for that, and I use it as a scheduler as well. So the calendar will have like our video release schedule, but Gmail unread messages is really my to-do list. In a lot of ways, where I'll be like, oh, add this to the WAN show discussion, or do this or do that. I'll send myself emails. And so being able to manage that better looks fantastic. I'm impressed so far, but I haven't tried it yet, of course.
That sign up is pretty funny. I sent an email and got an immediate reply back, which is like, all right, you've been added to the list. Like, why is it done by email? I don't know.
It's
super
ridiculous.
weird.
All right, speaking of things that are ridiculous, and this was originally posted on the forum by Victorious Secret, Apple beats Bose out of their retail and online stores. Really like the wording of that headline. Victorious
really
Secret, you're a very funny person. So this comes right on the heels of Apple's acquisition of Beats, and we actually did double check. So I did a search for Bose on apple.com, and I came up with a bunch of routers.
And some servers, I think. Yeah.
And a telepresence robot.
Oh, that's really expensive. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
So they have kicked them out. There's some speculation right now. 9to5Mac did go ahead and phone some Apple stores and confirm that they are no longer carrying Bose products. I don't know that that's been rolled out to all stores, but it is unknown at this time whether this is more to do with Apple's recent acquisition of Beats and the associated headphones, or more to do with just some general kerfuffling between Apple and Bose over the last little while. So there was Bose threatening Beats with a lawsuit over use of their noise cancellation technology, and then there was also the NFL deal where Bose is sponsoring the NFL, and NFL players, some of whom have lucrative Beats sponsorship contracts, are not permitted to wear their headphones at NFL events. So this was actually another 9to5Mac article that I'll just bring up for you guys. So 49ers quarterback was fined $10,000 for wearing Beats headphones to a press conference.
He was probably fine with that because he probably got a lot more than that from Beats.
I'm sure that he can work that out with Beats to make sure that he doesn't end up having to eat that. But that sucks.
Yeah.
Not that I necessarily think celebrity endorsements are the greatest thing ever when it comes to, selling headphones that aren't worth what people are paying for them.
Has a celebrity endorsement ever affected a purchase of yours?
Wow, that is such a great straw poll. And Twitter blitz. Guys... Okay, yeah, hit us.
And this can include, like, if you're buying, say, I know Kingston does a lot of esports sponsorships, so if you're buying Kingston stuff just because you want to support esports, that counts.
If you want to support that person specifically, that counts. Have you ever let a celebrity endorsement affect your purchase decision? We're not going to do a straw poll. I want to do this as a Twitter blitz.
Sure.
And I want to move on to the next topic while I think about whether or not I've had a celebrity endorsement affect something, because it's subtle a lot of the time. You have to really think about it. If you answer honestly and think about it, you guys, because I suspect more of you, a lot of you who had an initial knee-jerk reaction, no, of course not, have probably had it affect you, whether you know it or not.
I haven't knee-jerk purchased something because of one, but I have definitely paid more attention and maybe researched something. Like if I see something, if I see someone using it, especially different pro gaming stuff, I could be like, oh, that's an interesting mouse that this guy's using. Say it's Counter-Strike. And I'd look into that mouse and try and figure out if there's anything interesting about that mouse, and then maybe purchase it based on other reviews and stuff. but I haven't knee-jerk purchased something just because of a celebrity.
You know what? I'm trying to think of a product that I've purchased based on someone, and I can't really think of like a consumer electronics product, but I have purchased books based on who wrote the foreword. Definitely.
I have.
I forget what book I bought because it had a foreword by Steve Wozniak, and he said it was good, and so I bought it.
I've done that with books for sure.
Yes, and I don't know if Steve Wozniak counts as a celebrity in the same way that a sports icon does, because the book was, I think it was a business book, so he would actually know something about that. Because there's two different...
Yeah, I know you have a good point.
There's unrelated celebrity endorsement.
Yeah.
I actually recently found out how much they were talking about it on the radio. So my source for this story is it's not Team 1040, TSN 1040. It's a local radio station, and they were saying that Kim Kardashian charges $1 million just to show up for an endorsement of a makeup product or jeans or grand opening or whatever the thing happens to be. She requires 6 first-class plane tickets. So for her and whoever she wants to bring with her, they need ground security, they need first-class accommodations, and I forget what some of the other requirements are. But you know what's funny is I figured out that for things like, NVIDIA Mod 24, I don't think we've been charging enough. Because I did a rough calculation, and I kind of went, okay, Kim Kardashian's Twitter followers, my Twitter followers, Kim Kardashian $1 million, and how much I charge for things. And I went, shoot, I should be charging way more for stuff, because if Kim Kardashian's worth $1 million... Anyway,
that's pretty funny.
Sort of unrelated. Let's go ahead and start doing that Twitter blitz, because I think I figured out that, yes, I have purchased books based on forwards.
I didn't even think about books. I've looked up different people's book lists. Like I have Elon Musk's book list, and I've bought certain things off of his book list. So I've definitely done that. I didn't think about books at all.
I don't think buying a 780 Ti after our review counts.
No.
Because we're not endorsing the product in any official way.
Yeah, that's a review.
That's a review, not an endorsement.
We're talking about if you saw someone wearing something.
Yeah. All right.
If we were wearing a 780 as a necklace.
Oh, all right.
No,
I think
that makes no sense.
Here we go. Josh says, of course, started with Nike Air Jordans.
I'm sure that specific one goes for quite a few people.
I think so.
Yeah, that and Beats. I think it will be a
Kiko says, I buy based on the company, not the person advertising the product. I'm a big celebrity person. I'm just trying to think, did Happy Gilmore affect my Subway purchasing patterns? That's more of a product placement than a celebrity endorsement, but he does do a celebrity endorsement within the movie as Happy. I don't know. That's it's endorseception. When I was younger, didn't know any better. Example, player boots. Oh, that's crap. Yes. I have not actually bought one based on this, but I have shopped for badminton rackets based on who uses the racket.
Interesting. Yeah. I have not done that with sports gear, but I do definitely know a lot of people that have.
Alan says, no, my money is too precious to waste on esports. Yeah, but we're talking about everything here.
Yeah.
Joshua says, yes, I've bought something because you endorsed it before. Palm says, no. CJ says, if you count yourself, then yes, I got a 1M8 because of your review. Again, review. I was not paid to endorse it. In fact, HTC's never paid us anything. Yeah, we've never done a paid deal with them.
Reviews don't count.
Definitely. I didn't know what Be Quiet was until I saw them as a sponsor of Dignitas.
There you go.
There you go. There's a good one.
And we're not talking specifically about esports, though.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows they're included.
Interesting. Does it count as a celebrity endorsement if they actually buy the product and wear it?
I think in the context of when I was asking the question, no.
No. But that would still be a public figure influencing your purchasing decision.
And that would probably influence my purchasing decision more.
There's actually quite a few people. Here's 3 in a row saying that yes, they have purchased something because we talked about it or endorsed it in some way. Duncan says, does subscribing to someone on Twitch count? No, I don't think so. That's more like just paying that person.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Knox says reviews and user feedback versus celebrity.
I've used celebrity endorsement to go look for reviews and user feedback.
Right.
I haven't knee-jerk purchased something, though.
Interesting. Yeah, really, thank you guys very much for your comments on that. That was actually very, very interesting to see, more than anything else, how many of you were honest about it. Because I'm just trying to think, like, some celebrity endorsements have stood out to me a lot more than others. Like, shoot, that guy who did the stupid Subway commercials with the silly voice. Subway, eat fresh! I can't remember his guy. He used to do, like, silly movies, like Pauly Shore style crap.
Like, ever, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't remember. It stood out to me. Definitely didn't buy more Subway because of it. I think the first time I tried Quiznos was after they did the Toasted Tastes Better campaign with Don Cherry, though.
Really?
I think so.
I didn't. First time I tasted Quiznos was because I was super hungry and they were their only thing in range.
I like Quiznos. Not because Don Cherry endorses it, but...
I find you get more with Subway.
You do.
I don't know if that's right. Yeah.
I like the taste of Quiznos, but Subway's a much better value.
Yeah.
All right, this was originally posted by S. Vins Paribu, whatever, I don't care. I tried, man. All right, Ars Technica and BBC.com and Tech Report have all had. Oh, I love Scott Wasson, so we're gonna pull up his article on this. But this is really interesting. IBM pays GlobalFoundries $1.5 billion to take over their cash sink of a chip foundry business. So here's the article on Tech Report. There's actually some really interesting information on that one because Cyril brings up that this deal could be subject to as many as 200 regulatory bodies' approval worldwide before going through because IBM supplies some chips to governmental agencies.
It's actually pretty intense.
Yeah, that's incredible. $1.5 billion going to GlobalFoundries over the next 3 years to complete the transfer. IBM continuing their $3 billion committed investment into semiconductor tech research over 5 years. GlobalFoundries will be the main beneficiary of the ongoing research and will acquire thousands of patents as part of the deal. And GlobalFoundries is required, presumably, actually I don't know that they're required to, but they're saying they are going to keep substantially all of the IBM employees and facilities other than one in Bromont, Quebec, which IBM will keep and will continue its current mission of developing advanced semiconductor packaging solutions for IBM server and storage products. So IBM intends to keep designing semiconductor products, but they're entering into a 10-year deal for GlobalFoundries to produce all of their 22, 14, and 10 nanometer semiconductor products for, I think I said 10 years already.
Yeah. I think this is going to be pretty interesting, especially because of Google's recent thing with their red motherboards. Did you read about that?
Did not.
Google has been basically exclusively Intel for a really long time, but Google is now saying that they want more competition on that realm, so they have set up these new, like, mysterious red motherboards that will work with IBM chips, so that they can start shifting, so they have a little bit more of a distribution instead of just being almost exclusively Intel.
Interesting, okay.
So they're moving more into IBM chips, and IBM is moving out of the foundry business, which is an interesting combination. I mean, they've already converted their code to be able to work on these new chips.
So they're still going to be designing chips for mainframe products, and they're still going to be having GlobalFoundries produce them, so they'll still be selling them. Yeah. They just are trying to move their business gradually away from lower profitability businesses, things like, say, for example, making laptops, which they sold to Lenovo, making servers, which they also just recently unloaded, and now even making chips is not profitable enough for IBM. They're moving towards cloud and social.
Yeah, they're getting very much away from anything that could be anywhere close to consumer.
Anything physical, tangible, consumer-based. Nah, man. Forget it.
Pretty interesting.
All right, this is a pretty quick topic. This is posted by Teresa93. This is from 3dprint.com, and we're going to go ahead and pull that up here. Oh, I guess I should put us back in the corner. Yay, we're back! Look at us up here! Woo! Corner party!
Corner party. We haven't done a corner party yet.
We haven't done a corner party long time. Okay.
All right.
So 2-year sentence handed down to Yoshitomo Imura in Japanese 3D printed gun case. So this was back in May of this year, I believe, that he was originally arrested, but after he was seen test firing a zigzag revolver for which he had 3D printed. Japanese is known for their strict gun laws, but I am surprised to see them crack down this hard on what appears to be the first offense here.
I'm not really that surprised. I'm very surprised that he's like, oh, I'm unaware that there's any laws prohibiting blah blah blah, because he went and fired it as well. And if they have laws strictly against guns in general, like, you really think you're gonna just totally get away with this?
I'm surprised it was 2 years. I would have expected the first time around to be more of a slap on the wrist.
To like slap on the wrist and in state laws.
And then make sure that it's super clear, and then beyond that, it's like, okay, look, you guys knew at this point, so too bad.
Yeah, that's not a bad point. I just think it's kind of silly that he's like, oh yeah, I had no idea this was illegal. It's like, yeah, okay. You must have known at some level you were going to get in trouble.
Yeah, I think he probably also underestimated how much trouble he was going to get into. It seems like one of those things where some leniency. Well, I guess you have to decide. Do you give some leniency and then, just hope that others following don't expect any leniency? Or do you just crack down on it super hard, make international news, here we are talking about it, and make it really clear that, no, we are controlling guns. That means guns you make yourself, guns other people make for you. Because it's not like you couldn't make a gun before.
No.
And it's not like that wasn't illegal. So in places where...
It's just a different form of manufacturing.
Control. Yeah, it's just a different way of making your own gun. That doesn't make it any different, really.
People make guns in prison. It's doable.
All right, speaking of making guns in prison, this was posted by Ty Lightning, and the original article is from PCGamer.com. Far Cry 4 Season Pass offers new missions and a PvP mode. Now, it has been pointed out by a Ubisoft employee who shall remain nameless, who was like, yo, dog, I can't believe you posted, that inflammatory link on your Facebook, because it's just the one mode that is DLC. You will actually still have access to general PvP multiplayer. It's just the overrun mode. So you team up in this PvP mode and control a series of neutral locations. So yeah, it's just a territory control mode.
So which the one I would have liked the most.
So personally. Like the one that will probably be fun in the context of Assassin's Creed, and the one that
Far Cry 4.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, Far Cry 4, and the one that is included in every other game ever. And so my response to that, I didn't reply to the email, but I'm going to respond to it now. My response to that is, it should be inflammatory. Ubisoft should be torn a new one for turning something that was already included with every other game ever into something that's a launch day DLC. The Season's Pass goes for $30, includes, what is it? I think it's maps, some story crap.
Maps,
5
missions. Apparently Yetis.
Valley of the Yetis, so you've crashed in a blah, blah, blah. With single player and co-op options, it looks like it's just a survival mode. I think Left 4 Dead 2 had that,
Much cheaper game. Maybe go get that one.
Yeah, actually, I feel I should play some Left 4 Dead. It's been a long time.
It's good, and it's like really, really cheap now.
So between the cost of the game and the Season's Pass, which includes enough content that I guess you could say it justifies the $30 price tag, but could also say
justify its own existence.
This was a lot of stuff that was produced for the sole purpose of selling it to you on launch day so that you could pay a higher sticker price for the game.
Yeah.
We discussed this last week. You weren't here for this, but we discussed, based on inflation, based on the increased general number of man or woman hours that goes into making a game, is $90 actually an unfair amount to ask, given that there were SNES games, $60?
There's more metrics to look at than that.
I know. There's a lot more to look at than that, but let's just go pure inflation, okay? A game should be $75.
Fair.
It's not fair, but it's
Digital
reality.
distribution is a lot cheaper than physical distribution.
Digital
There's
distribution is cheaper.
Also a massive amount of more customers.
Which isn't the point.
Ridiculous degree amount of more
That's
customers.
not really the point.
But you're looking at your sales.
Bananas don't go down in price because...
Bananas are a physical item. These aren't a physical item.
Yes, bananas are a physical item.
You could give someone a digital banana.
Okay, it's rarely to do with the cost of making something. It's always to do with the value that the customer gets from it. That's how things are priced, unless they're commodity items. And I would argue a game is not a commodity item.
Not digital things necessarily.
Why not?
That's why movies are... If one person was viewing a movie digitally, it would cost the cost of creating that movie.
Yes.
How many people you're able to sell it to is part of a sales metric.
Yeah, but it's not about cost. I think movies are a great example because with the exception of services like Netflix, movies have taken a long time to adapt to, okay, things should cost less because they're digital. They didn't cost any less because they're digital. In fact,
very well known to be a very slow-moving, crappy industry that Netflix has been like, you guys are idiots, and then taken over.
yes.
So not necessarily a good example.
Okay, then we could pull up an example like the $1 billion that... crap.
I'm not sure.
League of Legends.
Okay.
Yeah. We could say the example of, the $1 billion that League of Legends makes. They could afford to do a skin for a penny, but they don't because it's about the value that the consumer places on that item, not about the cost of creating it.
They're also not locking game modes. It's a skin.
Okay, but they also have heroes that they do lock, but that you can unlock for free.
Yeah.
So,
and aren't that hard to really get.
How about this? All right. If anyone from Ubisoft is watching this time around, how about this? Why don't you unlock the season? Why don't you make a way to unlock the season's pass if you achieve 90% game completion or something like that?
Really interesting. And you can make it difficult. Most of the Ubisoft games are not that easy to 100% because there's usually collectible items and
there's
stuff.
There's a lot of junk.
Oh yeah. And that's fine.
For the people who really, really would have used the extra content, okay, you guys can prove to us that you really need it.
You could even make it 100% the game.
And you could make it 100% the game. I think that's a little unfair. Like, I think if they were going to be reasonable about it, it should be something more like an 80 or 90%.
So well, if you're going to include like challenge modes, then it should be 80 or 90%.
Yeah. So, and then, okay, then go ahead and we unlock it automatically for those people. But if you're one of those people who just wants to dink around with this particular thing, or you just don't feel like doing side missions and you just want to play through the story mission and it's worth the $30 to you, making it an optional upgrade, would gamers feel better about that?
I would do it because I like doing that already. I'm a completionist already, no matter how lame that is. So you know I took my Assassin's Creed save file and 100%ed it and then it corrupted and I was super pissed. But like,
yeah, I do remember that.
I did that already anyways. I didn't end up buying really any DLC because once I was done with the game, I was done with the game. So, I don't know. And my corrupt save file was a major piss off. I probably would have bought DLC if my game didn't corrupt, but still, I don't know.
So
that would be cool. I would like that.
If you buy the Season's Pass, it's 20% less than all the DLCs individually. Game and Pass can be purchased in all-in-one Far Cry Gold Edition for $90.
But it's not necessarily actually cheaper.
Which is not a discount over buying the game and buying the DLC separately. It's coming out November 18th. Why do we care if it comes out November 18th? Because you should probably buy it on November 25th when it's $10 or $20 off.
And we'll probably have a benchmarking video.
Yeah, that'll happen for sure for Far Cry 4. Yeah. We got to make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, so GTX 970
awesome.
ITX from Gigabyte. This looks freaking amazing.
Yes, it does.
Posted by Rask on the forum. Original articles from tomshardware.com. I'm going to go ahead and load that up. You want to tell them about this freaking miracle of a little graphics card here?
So apparently it's going to be running colder than the reference card. It's actually going to be running at 62 degrees Celsius instead of 76 degrees Celsius during a Metro Last Light benchmark, which is sick considering it is smaller. It is ITX size, so it's similar to the old, what was it, 670?
I think both Asus and MSI did 760 ITX edition cards.
Okay, yeah.
So just longer than a slot.
Yeah. So just barely longer. So you're going to be able to fit it in these tiny little miniature cases, which is great. That's super awesome.
Console
Especially
killers,
because
anyone?
it's a 970, because 970 are already really good for their value and quite fast. And like you just said, console killers, anyone? For sure. And people that are building these little miniature Steam machine things, which are just PCs, but they're small and have Steam OS on it. Anyways, this is probably a great card for them. Are we still live?
Yeah, why?
Okay, I'm having troubles with my...
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, anyways, it's powered by a single 8-pin PCI Express power connector, which is also great because you don't want to be running a whole ton of cables in these really compact systems, so that's good to see. Card comes overclocked, running at 1076 megahertz base with a boost clock of 1216, which is pretty damn fast. And the VRM circuitry is apparently not all that elaborate, and the cooler doesn't look necessarily that amazing either, but it is performing better than the reference one, so... still pretty cool.
So there's not a whole lot to complain about, and there's a whole lot to like about this card. 2
DVI ports, 3 DisplayPort interfaces, and an HDMI port, and it's $330, and it apparently ships early November, so real freaking soon.
Yeah, we've already reached out to Gigabyte about hopefully doing a review of it where we can really see, because I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, the temperatures are this.
Yeah.
but we don't really have any clarification as to, like, is that on an open test bench? What about when someone actually tries to build a mini ITX system with this? I would definitely like to investigate that a little bit and find out what's up with that.
That'd be really cool. Excited for that card to show up.
Yeah. So far, we haven't got a confirmation that we'll be covering it, but I would really like to. All right, so next up, we've got a Kickstarter for hoverboards. So this was originally posted by Liam McShane on the forum. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Kickstarter page here. Beepity-beepity-boop. Hendo hoverboards, the world's first real hoverboard. Does this feel to you like they're actually trying to make a company, or does it seem like they're just trying to cash in on making a flashy video on Kickstarter and having a bunch of people give you money and then...
Honestly, that's all that Kickstarter really feels like lately. So I'm going to be a little bit biased on this one. But over the last little while, Kickstarter's been pretty in the dumps. I was much less enchanted with this than I think a lot of people were.
I'd be enchanted with this video actually playing.
There we go. Doesn't want to skip forward, apparently, though.
A really well-shot Kickstarter video is basically like the equivalent of printing money.
Yeah.
Like, I would be... Like, looking at this video, looking at the way this was shot, is... This wasn't cheap.
No.
It either wasn't cheap or they have like a cinematography dork with a lot of really great equipment on
I thought it was funny how did you see when the kid was running the thing over, it was all over different things of metal?
Yeah.
Pliers and...
So the way this tech works, it seems very magnificent when you consider that, holy crap, they've got a hoverboard. Look at this. Wow, he's on a hoverboard. Except that the issue is that this I guess we should probably show this. The issue is that this hoverboard only runs on metal. So
yeah, so that's a metal...
It's just magnets.
Thing there. Yeah.
And I mean, yes, it is still an achievement, because if you've ever taken two magnets with similar poles facing each other and like tried to have one of them sit on top of the other one, it ain't that simple.
Like, it's cool, but isn't it 10 grand to buy a single one?
Yeah, it's 10 grand to buy a single one. They've already sold all of the individual
which was 10
hoverboards that they've committed to commit. So does it look like they're trying to create a viable business? Not really, because they've only committed to producing 10 hoverboards. If they were trying to make a business out of making hoverboards, you would think they would want to sell as many of them as possible. Yeah. And that wouldn't be 10. Because the reality of it is, you're not going to be able to ride it anywhere. So, Like at all. Because there's no metal in the sidewalk. So you're not going to be riding with Fly.
Or any skate park.
Or over like, the fountain as you run away from the bullies or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very cool. No, makes no sense. I don't understand how they managed to raise $350,000. You do get a pretty cool thing for some of the funding tiers. You get this little metal plate with a little white box that uses the same principles to float around on it. That's super cool, but I don't understand why anyone bought a hoverboard for $10,000. Unless
they also intend on spending incredible amounts of money to make their own metal skate park.
I don't know.
Insanely expensive.
Spend $10,000 on a skateboard, maybe.
That's what I mean. Like, if you're going all in and you're spending, if you're already super rich for one, and just intend to make your own entire metal skate park, which can't go wrong in any way, of course not.
Yeah.
Then sure.
Operation cannot possibly fail.
Yeah. Just make a whole metal skate park, sure. And don't bother getting any grind rails or anything, because that's totally not going to work.
Yeah, that won't work. You can grind the board against it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd recommend it.
I guess you'll probably have a pretty simple skate park, actually. Just swoop, like they had in the video. That's pretty much all you can do.
Yeah. It hovers about an inch off the ground, but I guess you guys saw that in the video. So there you go. I guess that's all we really have to say about that.
At least you don't have to pay for new skateboard wheels.
Mind you, you could get a skateboard that does have wheels on it that you ride as much as you're going to ride this hoverboard, and then you'd never have to pay for new wheels for that either. Since you won't be riding this hoverboard. I can show you guys a picture of that GTX 970 ITX now. So there you go. That's what it looks like. It's small and it's a GTX 970.
Yep.
So that picture's on Tom's Hardware if you wanted to look at it some more.
That share ribbon right down the middle of the picture. That was super cool.
Yeah, I like that. All right, posted by Solo SDK. This original article is from BGR.com. Apple's A8X dominates the benchmark.
I wonder if he's the software development kit for solo things.
Sure. All right, so let's see if this page is going to load at some point. And if it doesn't, then you'll just have to count on me to sort of talk about it. Now, Apple's been really cagey about the specs of their A8 chip. I mean, this is pretty typical for them, but it looks like all they were really saying in their event was 40% faster, which is very typical Apple speak.
Yeah.
Does things 2 times as well. Magical.
I love the facial expression. Apparently, all Apple people just have duck face, but like shifted upwards duck
Really
face.
smug duck face.
Yes. It's 40% faster.
Revolutionary.
We changed everything yet again.
We changed everything again. The best part of that is how little has actually changed since the original iPhone.
know. Yeah. Why is this not working?
Oh, because you're not plugged into the wall with it?
Why was it unplugged?
It's okay, you still got a lot of battery left. Anyway.
It said 11. What?
No, you got lots. You're good. You got 1 hour, 10
It just
minutes.
told me, it gave me a warning saying 11%, and then now it's saying 55%.
So basically, looks like it's going to be a 3-core processor. Looks like it runs at something like 1.4 gigahertz. I don't know. That article's not loading for me anymore, and the detail was in there. Yes, here we go. And it looks like it freaking trashes everything else that Apple has ever released in terms of performance. So the iPhone 6, which runs the A8, so we're not seeing the same chip in an iPad and an iPhone product this time around, is much, much, much slower. So the CPU mark rating is 44,000 for the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus, and 73,000 for the iPad Air 2. Looking pretty spiffy. Nothing special about the memory except that, oh wait, Apple finally put 2 gigs of RAM in a product. Wow! They've changed everything again by doubling the memory.
They changed everything, specifically RAM.
It's okay. There's a couple things that are interesting to me about this. So ARM at 1.5 gigahertz, 1 processor, 3 cores. Very, very cool stuff. The one interesting thing to me about them finally increasing RAM is because Apple tends to support the iPad products with new OSs for longer than the iPhone products, from my experience. Like, my iPad 2 is still getting updates. So I still get iOS 8. How great the experience it is, yeah, who knows?
I also wouldn't be too surprised if people were iteratively updating their tablets less than their phones, which is probably why they're doing that, which makes sense.
Yeah. So the only thing that this indicates to me is maybe at some point, whether it's iOS 9 or iOS 10, we are finally going to see the phones move to 2 gig, and we're finally going to see some kind of better multitasking experience on iOS.
Yeah.
Something I brought up in my review that went live last night about iOS is that it's not all about speeds and feeds on this thing. Yes, it only has 1 gig of RAM, but what multitasking are you doing on iOS anyway? And the management of background resource usage is excellent. That's why you can go to bed with an iPhone on your nightstand and wake up with 2% or 3% of your battery drained. That does not happen on Android because Android doesn't shut down background apps. And
if I forget to shut down certain apps, I can have more drain overnight than during the day because throughout the day I'll be like, oh yeah, I should close things.
Yeah, I installed Plex on my 1M8 and I was getting 65 to 70% battery drain just sitting on my pillow from when I wake up until I get home from work, which is at around 8 p.m.
I find the camera to be the worst because a lot of times I want to take a quick picture and then go back to what I was doing, so I just press home and I don't close it and just sits there idling in the background. It takes huge amounts of battery.
So yeah, this is all interesting. So the iPad Air 2 crushes the benchmarks. Cool. I guess that's all we really have to say about it.
Yeah. It's not really...
Yay.
It did things well.
All right, so moving on, 14-nanometer Broadwell-E is rumored to enter mass production in Q1 2016. This was posted on the forum by Big Stream.
This is a pretty far-off rumor.
Yeah, so this is a pretty far-off rumor. It also indicates something that makes me pretty sad, and that's that Broadwell for consumers is going to come significantly before Broadwell for enthusiasts. So we're going back to that whole enthusiasts get things after everyone else.
Yeah.
Which was unavoidable, I guess, because really this is more of a server enterprise product anyway, because it's a Xeon platform. That's where they're doing the bulk of the business with quad channel memory and all that stuff. Enthusiasts just kind of get to also enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that space moves a lot slower. And so, I guess we should be happy it's only a 6-month lag as opposed to the year that we were seeing before. And at least we're still going to have, so it looks like it's going to be 8 and 6 core options again, support for overclocking with K-series SKUs, Intel Turbo Boost 2.0, up to 20 megabytes of cache, and the power is going to be 140 watts with up to 40 lanes of PCIe 3.0. So I think we're going to see a very, very similar to Haswell-E type of product lineup. 8-core, 6-core, 6-core with cut-down PCIe lanes on the bottom one. But I have no problem with that. Haswell-E is a great product, especially the 5820K. Yeah. And this looks like that plus 10% IPC and better power consumption. So there you go. Actually, 5820K I think is not getting enough credit. I see a lot of people really questioning the use of fewer PCI Express lanes on that product, 28 versus 40, and contemplating stepping up to the 5930K, which I don't think makes a ton of sense.
Have we only theorized about releasing that video, or did we actually release that?
No, that video's out. The one where we showed SLI scaling with the different CPUs. Unless you're going quad SLI, I can't come up with a reason.
Probably shouldn't.
Which you probably shouldn't. I can't come up with a good reason why you need to buy a 5930K or 5820K. There are some things. Okay, if you want to really leverage M.2 storage expansion, so if you want to be plugging an SSD directly into PCI Express, and you want 2 graphics cards, and you want a 10 gigabit NIC, and you want a RAID card for your other storage array.
So you probably shouldn't run quad SLI, and you're probably not running that.
Yeah, you're probably not doing all that stuff.
You might be. But
if that were to happen, you might need the PCI Express lanes. But even with 28 lanes, 2 cards running at 8x8x is only 16 of them. That's still 12 more. So an M.2, SSD, there goes another 4. You've still got lots of PCI Express lanes left, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the 5820K makes a ton of sense. All right. So we're expecting pre-engineering samples processors sometime in Q2 2015. And they will continue to use the LGA 2011 V3 X99 platform. That's great news, so we're getting small incremental improvements. The NSA approves Samsung's Galaxy phones for classified work. This was posted by TechDreamer on the forum, and let's just go ahead and fire that up here. So I guess there's 2 ways to read this. Number 1 is Samsung phones are really secure. Number 2 is, and this is the tinfoil hat version, Samsung phones are going to tell the NSA everything.
Or they're also really not secure because people worry about global keys possibly used by the NSA. So there's like the second tinfoil hat option. But the tinfoil hat options
tinfoil hats. I don't think that's it. Come on! It's approved for use by the NSA, for themselves, not approved for use. Like, it's not the NSA signing off on this phone is approved for use for people.
I think it's approved for use for all government agencies within...
Not all. So it's NSA, and there's another specific one that it's approved for.
Defense
Information Systems Agency. And I suspect once those ones approve it, the others will start to fall very quickly. Yeah. But basically, it's what is it? The Note 4, the Galaxy...
It's devices based on the Knox security platform.
Right.
So all Galaxy, S4, S5, Note 3, Note 4, Note 10.1, 2014 edition, Note Edge, Alpha, Tab S 8.4, Tab S 10.5, and their IPsec VPN service.
Yeah, so lots of, basically, encryption. There's a separate, the way Knox works, we've actually talked about it in the past in like an interview with someone from Samsung or something.
Yeah.
So there's like a separate phone within a phone, like a virtual phone that's secured, and then you can continue to use the device personally with as little security as you want within your own kind of user virtual phone. So it is pretty cool. This is something that Samsung's been working on for a very long time. This was a big part of the story when they first launched the S4. So, yeah, I guess...
I wouldn't be surprised at all if NSA can easily get into these. I'm not just... Why wouldn't they say Apple?
You could tell me the NSA can easily get into my pants, and I'd probably believe you, so...
Yeah. They probably can. Echolocation, weird audio bouncing off things, and they can like form the digital image and recreate skin color based off your face, and then there you go.
and they can
digitally get in your pants.
They probably won't enjoy it, so I guess I'll let them go for that. All right. Oh, now this was something. Okay, so I have a couple things to talk about here. Apple, this was posted by Sam Fisher on the forum, original articles from Ars Technica. I have a couple of things to talk about here. First of all, I did say, mistakenly, that applications will not benefit from 64-bit inherently, and it's mostly to do with architectural improvements in a fast as possible. Very recently, there are workloads that will benefit very significantly from 64-bit. I should have phrased it better because most of those workloads aren't something that are going to be a major concern. Things like encryption benefit from 64-bit enormously, but it doesn't really matter because a phone is already fast enough to handle encryption very, very easily. So yes, incremental power savings, great. Incremental performance in things like, Touch ID recognition. Yes, all very good stuff. Love it. Fantastic. It's just not a big deal when it comes to browsing the internet, typically, unless there's encryption involved. Right. So there's that. And number two is I said I really didn't see how Apple was going to handle smoothly transitioning to 64-bit on their phones. Looks like this is it. Beginning February 2015, App Store submissions must be 64-bit. Boom! So they've had a 64-bit CPU for a long time. The 5S launched with a 64-bit CPU, but developers have kind of been dragging ass. Although in developers' defense, they did go ahead and release iOS 7. And then they did go ahead and release iOS 8 with 2 new screen sizes. Apple's never done that before. 2 new screen sizes on the phone at the same time. Never done that before. So okay, yeah, devs have been busy. But now it's going to be mandatory as of February. So that's how they're going to do it. By the time a 3rd generation iPhone with a 64-bit processor launches, it will have been mandatory for 6 months. For your app to be 64-bit.
So any updates or any new apps will have to be 64-bit. If you have an app that's on the store and you don't update it for whatever reason, I guess it's still fine.
I guess if you don't update it, it'll stay there. Yep. But yeah, if you were to deliver an update or do whatever else. Now, to be clear, these 64-bit apps will still have to work on 32-bit devices unless they specifically say that they're compatible only with the 5S, 6, 6 Plus, and then 7 or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But they will at least be able to take advantage of the performance improvements and whatever else comes along with 64-bit. And there were some examples of non-encryption-based applications that did speed up significantly. AnonTech actually did an excellent article looking at just no optimizations at all. Just compile it in 32-bit, compile it in 64-bit. What kind of a performance improvement do you see? And there were some that did quite well, and some that even small performance gains are important because it's about more than how fast does that app launch. It's about CPU idle time. So when an app is done being worked on, done being launched, your device isn't really working on it anymore. That's great for battery life, which is great for the mobile experience. So if you can get an extra 10% of battery life on your phone, would you take it? Sure, I would.
Most definitely.
Because it all kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Battery life is one of the most frustrating things with phones right now.
All right.
Ugh.
Speaking of frustrating things with phones, G.Skill's Phoenix Blade, posted by Big Strunes. Yeah, no, the segue didn't make sense.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Original articles.
I was trying to think. I was like, maybe there's something.
From Guru 3D, Tech Report, Tech Power Up, lots of good stuff here. Do you want to cover this one while I pull it up on the screen here?
So first of all, it looks absolutely beautiful, but I guess you guys will see that in a moment. It's built on it's a 480 gigabyte SSD array with speeds up to 2,000 megabytes per second and 240k IOPS.
That is so jokes.
Megabytes.
That's dumb fast.
That is dumb. See, because normally you would say stupid fast. That is actually fairly interesting.
It's crazy fast.
PCIe Gen 2.09x8 trim and SCSI UMAP support, SMART, all that kind of stuff. 3-year warranty. It's going to be $699.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
$1.40 a gig.
Sorry?
$1.40 a gig or so?
$1.46.
Okay, it's a little
very, very close. Did you brain math that?
No.
You didn't? Okay.
No, I read it before.
Okay. I was like, that was pretty quick. I was pretty impressed.
No, dog.
One random tidbit. People in Germany are incredibly fast at doing math in their head. Anyways, that's what I found. Anyways, so yeah, pretty cool. Did you get the picture of it?
Yeah, I had that up for a bit there.
Because it does look really
Looks
freaking
badass. It has 4 SandForce 2281 controllers on it. Yes, it's a quad SSD array behind a PCI Express. What is it? 8X interface? Did you say?
Yes.
That is unfreaking believable. And no, I think that 9 was a typo in there. Let's go ahead and remove that. So yeah, that looks fantastic. I guess this is just because LSI / didn't they get sold to like Kickstarter or something? Like the SandForce unit
Something
keeps
weird.
getting shuffled around. Can't even remember who it belongs to anymore. But the new generation SandForce controller that we saw for the first time over a year ago at Computex, yeah, still isn't here. So this is the closest thing we have, is throwing more last generation SandForce controllers on a better bus in RAID operation and then just kind of brute forcing the heck out of it.
The only thing we have is 2,000 megabytes per second.
Yeah, that's all we got. And the fact that it supports trim is very surprising to me. Most RAID controllers don't support trim. In fact, the one that I'm aware of that does do it is Intel's onboard RAID. And other than that, even add in like $600, $700, $800 RAID cards, most of them don't support passing trim through to SSDs in RAID 0. So
Trim is pretty important, so that's actually pretty cool.
All right, the Pirate Bay is endorsing a VPN service, FrootVPN, and it's free for now. So FrootVPN.com, the original article here was from Torrent Freak, and this was posted by Shalashalaska on the forums.
It's probably not free for very long. They've already actually posted about that. It's apparently not a paid spot for one. They're apparently just kind of plug-in for friends, which is interesting. And this is not the first VPN that the Pirate Bay has actually plugged on their website before. The last VPN that they plugged ended up monetizing themselves by filling it full of adware, which is what people are a little bit worried about. But they have said that they're angry with the whole commercialization of the VPN business, which is why they created this. They intended it for it to be free at least for a very long time, but with the fact of them gaining 100,000 users in like a week or something, they're like, okay, so maybe not going to be free for all that long, but they are promising that when it is monetized, it will be very cheap.
Because there's no real reason why VPNs need to be as expensive as they are, and it takes someone to come in and shake up these industries. I mean, you look at what Blackmagic Design has done to the production industry, you know, where they just kind of go, no, we're going to make it, and then this comes back to our discussion about what is something worth. Is it worth what it costs to make plus a markup, or is it worth what it's worth to someone minus nothing? And Blackmagic came in with a bit of a different philosophy where they went, well, it's going to cost us this much to make this thing. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit buggy. The firmware updates might come a little bit slow, but we're going to do our darndest to deliver this thing for you. Versus what the guys like Canon or Sony were content to do, which was build the least good possible thing that is just incrementally better than the last one, charge as much as they possibly can for it based on how much money they know that people can generate with this equipment, because professionals will just have to pay for it. It's like, what choice do we have? We have to buy studio lights. We need lights to make videos. So however much they charge us for lights, as long as we can generate enough money and make enough videos, we'll find a way to pay for them.
Lights are stupid expensive.
The ones we use now are actually pretty cheap. These are the house brand B&H ones.
But not the Kinos.
No, the Kinos are really expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I guess, pretty much it. So basically their whole thing is they want to make this VPN make sense from how much it actually costs to deliver a VPN service to someone, and a markup, and how much people are paying for it. So
there is some stuff like if you check if they're even able to go to their website, a lot of the time their website's down. Let's see if it's up right now.
Yeah, I just had it up.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
It is down a lot of the time. They are a quite new website, and with all the traffic they've been getting and stuff, they are seen as still quite sketchy by Scamadviser. Scamadviser is showing them at 48% and showing that they're a fairly unknown reputation website. There's not a ton known about their company at all. They're still pretty new. And they have possibly affiliations with a few other companies like the ISP that they're buying all of their internet from. But those, as far as I know at this point in time, are not necessarily confirmed. So, very interesting VPN popping up. We'll see. Have to see how it goes.
Now, the thing about a VPN is you have to at least have some level of trust for them.
Yeah.
Because all the data funnels through them.
Yeah, but we'll see. Obviously, a lot of people are using them. One complaint that I've seen a lot is that the speed is not very fast. but that's obviously because they just got
Getting
massively hammered by everyone.
Yeah.
So I would probably, if it's too frustrating to use now, maybe come back in a while and see how it goes. Because it's going to be too much for them now. That's what I was talking about, like their website being down and stuff. Whoa.
So speaking of Scamadviser, I brought up our Scamadviser, LinusTechTips.com. High trust rating. This site looks safe to use. 100% looks safe.
Yay!
Yay! Cool. Linus Tech Tips Community Forum, domain age 6 years. Oh, that's right, because it used to have that silly blog on it. Owner country hidden. Haha.
Yay.
All right, so let's go ahead and go back to...
I don't think that application is right, but either way.
Yeah, no,
fine.
is that... Oh, I don't actually... Yeah, let's not get into that. All right, so moving on to... Oh, we should do our sponsor spots, right? Speaking of learning and learning being awesome, Lynda.com. So you can get a free trial of Lynda.com if you go to lynda.com/WAN show. It's 7 days. It's all you can eat. And what would you want to eat, you might ask? Well, knowledge.
Yes!
Yeah! Lynda.com is actually a fantastic service. They do videos that educate you about whether it's you want to improve at your hobby or open up new career prospects for yourself. They've got all kinds of great stuff. You can learn photography, you can learn coding, you can learn... I wouldn't even be surprised if they have, like, needlepoint, but I should probably... I'm just curious. Needlepoint.
And just in case you were maybe wondering, for whatever reason, Scamadviser says that they're 100% safe.
Yeah. We're gonna validate all of our future sponsors like that. No, Lynda.com is definitely 100% safe. They're a super legit service. We have a couple of people here at Linus Media Group. One of them is right here, who used skills they learned on Lynda.com to do their daily job, so it can lead to gainful employment, or even if you just want to get better at something where you're a hobbyist. Unfortunately, videos are... Okay, we don't unfortunately have anything on needlepoint.
Which is probably fine.
Which is probably fine. They do have lots and lots of serious courses. So 3D animation, audio and music, business, education, development, video, photography, marketing, just web stuff. Learning about it on lynda.com is a great way to do it.
CAD could even be pretty cool if you want to make your own little 3D printed objects to maybe put in a computer case.
I would be amazed if in the next 10 years, CAD isn't something that gets taught as part of the mandatory curriculum in school, as opposed to something that you can sometimes take as an elective.
That would be really interesting, because if 3D printers start being in pretty much every home,
Yep.
and a day-to-day usage thing.
Not even just in the home. If 3D printers are something where you're going to be expected to know how to use one, like at a job, the way that word processing is today,
Right, yeah.
I can totally see that being part of a forward-thinking educational curriculum. So being able to learn some things about 3D modeling would be an amazing way to leverage lynda.com. So guys, lynda.com/WAN show for a free 7-day trial. You can decide if you like it, if you feel like you're learning and it's worth the actually pretty trivial monthly subscription fee, then guys, definitely check it out. And our other sponsor today is one that we both feel strongly is pretty awesome. They're Canadian. The guy who started it's Canadian. We're Canadian. That's pretty cool.
That.
You know,
we're large, but we're a fairly small population country.
Yeah, you know, so we get real proud whenever Canada comes up with anything.
Yeah. Still holding on to that penicillin.
So store.phantom.glass is where you guys can go to check out what we think is pretty much the best screen protector out there. Yep. On top of being oleophobic and scratch resistant and shatter resistant and all that stuff that your phone already is, it feels just like your phone already is. All it does is add another layer of the same Gorilla Glass that your phone was already using to make it so not only is it going to resist being scratched by your keys in your pocket, if in the event it does actually get scratched because you drag it across the pavement, you can just peel it right off and replace it just like that. Another cool thing is I actually just RMA'd my HTC One M8 because I had an issue with the lens. They did get back to me. It has all been resolved, so I'm still going through my as a customer RMA experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting.
So I sent that back to them, and I was able to remove my phantom glass from it without any issues with it, and I'm going to put that right back on the new one. It is fully removable, and it is, I think I can even say this, it is bubble proof.
Yeah, I've never seen a bubble on one.
It is, you can't get a bubble under the glass because it just magically does it itself. I did a review for Phantom Glass before we ever took them on as a sponsor because I've always been pretty sketched out by cases and screen protectors because they're
cases for phones.
garbage. Cases for phones, yes. They're all junk.
Yep.
And so having a sponsor or even doing reviews, I reject almost, I don't think, have we ever done a case review? I think I did an OtterBox once. And then
and we
I
destroyed it.
broke it on camera, and then they
Yeah.
never talked to me again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't like phone cases. I think they're all just...
Didn't you like partially damage your own phone during that review?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for you guys.
Yeah.
So you could know
I
what's up.
remember that.
Yeah, so for them, I really wanted to see it work before I was willing to take them on as a sponsor, and it does, and it's awesome, and we both feel strongly that they're cool.
They're bros.
They're actually going to be sponsoring us for CES.
Yeah.
That's in the plan. So we have
Are we actually doing my little...
Yes, we're going to do it, but we're not going to tell them yet, but it's going to be hilarious.
Okay.
The sponsored video we're doing for them is going to be a must-watch. A must-watch.
I'm pretty excited. Okay. I didn't know it was a secret thing, but luckily I didn't say anything.
All right, speaking of must-watch, this was posted by Card on the forum. KitGuru.net has an article about how the Titan Z has dropped in price to the point where it might actually even make sense to buy one if you really want a Titan Z.
If you really want a Titan Z. Oh, man, that's funny.
Personally, I'd pick up a couple 970s, but whatever.
Yeah, I probably would.
If you really want dat VRAM, it does have
Yes.
6 gigs of VRAM per GPU.
And with games like Assassin's Creed Unity apparently saying that you need a minimum of 2, but
Which we'll get to later.
Yeah, it might make sense.
It's down to 900 Great Britain pounds, including VAT.
Now, okay, again, these are very cherry-picked numbers. So 900 was 2,300 Great Britain pounds. The EVGA version is apparently 1,200. And that particular one, the Palet, is basically always sold out. So, yeah, a little bit cherry-picked numbers, but it is much, much, much cheaper than it used to be, which is pretty cool. Although I feel bad if someone bought it.
At $3,000?
Yeah.
I would feel terrible.
Because it was like 2,400 Great Britain pounds, so I think it was more than 3,000 American dollars.
In the US, it was $3,000
Yes.
MSRP. So, yeah.
That was pretty rough. Do we want to move on to the full body mouse chair thing?
Yeah, let's.
There's
do
not
that.
a ton to talk about the.
All right, this was posted by Tech Dreamer on the forum, and I don't. Oh my goodness, what is the link? Oh, it's in the forum post. Okay, I'll pull up the video and I'll let you talk about it.
Sure. So apparently, this is a quote from Govert Flint. I hope I said that guy's name right. He's the designer of the dynamic chair. He said, "Western society is so over-organized. I found it odd that we create tech that's so efficient that it takes over physical efforts. So we go to fitness centers to create the movements," which is actually a pretty interesting quote. But the chair that he's created, while interesting, I think is absolutely redonkulous. So you use your feet to click. You use your legs, like full movement of your legs to be able to click. You use your hip movement to scroll. And then I'm not even entirely sure how you move the mouse, but as far as I can tell in the video, you like manipulate the mouse with your hands. So this is him, I think, left clicking it looks like. So his left foot is up in the air. So it's just ridiculous. How's the video coming along?
It's not.
Okay, so yeah. So it looks like he's left clicking here. I could be wrong to what he's exactly doing because it's ridiculously confusing, but
When like computer peripherals are created by artists as opposed to engineers,
or
you end up with
that-
solutions like this.
Yeah. So, like, I admire his whole idea where, yes, we are making certain things maybe a little bit too efficient, so we're having issues with people aren't moving enough, and it's creating
people are
serious
sedentary.
issues. Yes, that's actually a problem, but making something that makes using your computer nigh impossible is not going to solve the problem.
Now, in his defense, you haven't tried the body mouse. Nigh impossible is a strong statement.
We should get one.
We already have not enough space here as it is.
Really good comment on the Linus Tech Tips board, which I wasn't necessarily going to bring up, but I'm going to go try and find it now. It was like the second or third comment, I think. Let me see.
Speaking of
Second comment by ZZ. I can imagine this with Counter-Strike. You would break every bone in your body in a single match. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
It's like burst firing. Fire in short bursts.
And then because of how it's like kind of attached to you, you kicking out like that, you'd be moving metal with your whole leg the whole time. That'd be ridiculous. You'd have to be an opper because there's no way you could fire something that well. But then the same problem with being an opper is you can't aim that well because you'd have to move your scope by being like, no, look here.
That's terrible.
Ridiculous. I don't know. I admire the idea because sitting for too long is a serious problem. I've been looking into a whole bunch of different solutions for this for a while. So is people like Brandon, but
yeah, well, he's at a standing desk now, and when we have the space for it, I will do some kind of ergonomic improvements for everyone. So we're probably actually the chair review that comes out this weekend. I'm going to look into having chairs of that caliber for everyone. So all that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, this is going to be coming in a couple of weeks, and I actually didn't tell anyone that I was going to tease this at all. But let's talk about it. The decision's pretty much made. I talked to our accountant, who is my wife, about how we're doing, and we're kind of. It's borderline, but it's time. We don't have enough space here, so Linus Media Group will be moving.
We're in Nick's office right now.
Yeah, we're actually in Nick's office because
we kicked him out on Fridays.
We kicked him out of the other one because we have too many people in that room now, and it's gotten kind of ridiculous. I mean, for those of you who watched our studio tour, you'll have seen that our server room is in a bathroom.
Yeah,
that's because there's literally nowhere else to put it where it won't be too loud to film.
It hurts my soul.
Yeah, it's really bad. So we're going to be doing some kind of a crowdfunding campaign. We're going to put together some really cool stretch goals. We're going to put together some really cool rewards, and that's going to be coming probably sometime in the next couple of weeks.
If you guys have ideas for that, hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah,
Luke_LAFR.
Yeah, not this.
Not that.
We got to get this fixed.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe a stretch goal will be to get your Twitter handle fixed on WAN Show.
Oh no.
So yeah, guys, stay tuned for that. We'd love to have your support because we're looking at hopefully moving into a space where we can really continue to develop other channels like Channel Superfun. I want to add a couple more people, which is part of the reason we need to move because there isn't space for more people here, so that we can have the time to do that. I actually have some other ideas for other channels that we want to launch. It's just that we need more resources in order to do it. So rather than looking for, investment or whatever else, we're going to look to the community to
and we have some actually pretty cool ideas.
Yeah, we do.
Can I tease some of them, or are we leaving that for now?
No, let's wait till the campaign launches.
Okay,
let's wait till the campaign launches.
There's some pretty cool ideas, and again, if you have ideas, let me know and I'll see about implementing them. We have to do something that's feasible, but we're going to try and have as much fun with it as possible.
So there you go.
Oh my god, I just thought of another idea, but I'll keep that bottled for now. Okay.
Oh, Nick's suggesting that we do a stretched goal of installing one of those full body stupid mice.
Oh no.
No, that's not going to be a stretch goal. We're not doing that. We'll make Nick use it.
Wrecked.
All right. Speaking of things that we could make Nick use that wouldn't bother him, this was posted by Poofu on the forum, and the original articles from
keyboard with that thing?
CNET.com.
What? On-screen keyboard? Little tiny micro movements. I have to press this exact key. Oh man.
Oh, that's terrible. All right, so
Dynamic chair.
Let's move on to lowly DSL poised for gigabit speed boost.
Sick.
This is pretty exciting because DSL does tend to give you better latencies than cable, and it's been limited in terms of the speeds that they've been able to roll out with current technology, but we could be looking at, 2016? Yeah, arrive in homes in 2016. So there'd need to be new hardware on the ISP level. There'd need to be new hardware on the consumer level, so you'd need a new modem. But we could be looking at up to gigabit speeds through DSL service with one large gotcha, which I know you were about to fine. Go ahead with the gotcha.
Curb your enthusiasm immediately, because to get gigabit speeds, you have to be within 50 meters of the sending building, which is probably not going to be a thing. At 200 meters, which is still pretty rough, but it will have a much bigger impact than 50 meters. Is going to be 600 megabits per second, so that's a huge downgrade already. Yeah. So, yeah, still a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. better than nothing. Why don't we say that much?
Yes, and should be a lot easier for these guys to deploy than fiber. So you'll probably see it in areas that were not planned for fiber.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really cool.
Because it's over the phone line. So anywhere with a phone line can theoretically get DSL technology at some kind of a speed. So...
And even if you're not getting gigabit, and even if you're not getting 600 megabits, because you're more than 200 meters out, which is very likely, it should have some sort of a boost. See, look, 8% remaining.
I don't know.
But then it says 8 hours and 46 minutes.
Cool. Probably needs a reboot. Go Windows.
Yeah, anyways.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here.
And then now it says 1 hour and 37 minutes.
Photomath. Now, you were geeking out over this one.
Oh, this is awesome.
Also posted by Tech Dreamer on the forum. The source is photomath.net. So this is basically going to take needing to keep electronic devices out of exam rooms
So hardcore.
to a whole new level.
Oh my god. You are now going to be checking your phone at the door. There's no way they're going to let you even have it in the bag, I bet. Because this is insane.
Well, whatever.
Basically, it gives you what kind of looks like a QR code reader, where there's just like the zone where you have to have the object within, and it's a scanner. So, and you highlight it over a mathematical equation, so say if it's a textbook or whatever, and it will solve it on the phone, give you the answer, and then even give you all the steps that it had to do to get to that answer, so that you would be able to get 100% on the question, which is awesome and horrible at the same time.
How is my son going to learn anything? Like, think about this.
You're going to, like, studying, if you have a studying area, it's going to have to be a no-phone area, like 100%. Or your son's going to have to actually care about knowledge at all, which is very likely, and won't do this. One thing that I could see it for, if you're actually interested in learning things, which you probably should be, is to use it to check your answers.
Yep.
Because that's cool, and math textbooks won't have all the steps. So if
some of them do, but you're right, not all of them do.
And it very likely won't for all questions.
And problem sheets from a professor might not necessarily have all the steps. In fact, most of the professors I ever met were phenomenally lazy.
Yes.
So you'd be lucky if you got an answer sheet at all.
So if you're like, man, I can't figure out how to solve this, you might be able to do that for one of them, get all the steps, and be like, okay, well, if I can manipulate this process, I can solve the other ones.
I can solve this problem group now.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully people are going to use it that way. It doesn't work for everything. Does it have what it works for here? So it's not like every math equation in existence. It's more like stuff like arithmetic, adding, subtracting, multiplication.
Only if it was this simple to point it at, like, Fermat's final theorem or whatever, that can solve things.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. So I don't know. Arithmetic expressions, so plus, minus, multiplication, division, fractions and decimals, powers and roots, and simple linear equations. I'm actually surprised that it even got to... no, simple linear equations makes sense. So they're constantly adding more features, but that's what they have so far. So as of right now, you're not going to walk into a calculus class and be like, haha, I got my whole page worth of work solved. So not going to happen right now, but I don't know.
Someone high up at that company has to be a Windows Phone dork, because it's available for iOS and Windows Phone so far.
Yeah.
And not Android yet.
Android is coming, but it's not yet, which I found that pretty surprising as well.
I think this is just a phenomenally cool app, though, and I'm super impressed.
I hope people use it reasonably. I hope people don't use it just to, like, coast through school. Coast through school.
It's okay, I understood. I'm sure they understood.
Yeah, but I think people will.
Yeah, of course they will.
And one thing, like, not to put ideas in people's heads, but one thing I seriously see happening especially with how many cell phones people have these days, and replacing cell phones and, like, just having that one that's thrown in the drawer, is that they'll, like, check their cell phone at the door and then have another one in their pocket, which is horrible.
Yep. And when Google Glass-like devices become just looking like glasses,
yes,
and people figure out, like, I mean, okay, I'm sure it's a matter of time before people figure out, two-way mirror type systems to cover up LEDs and lenses and stuff like that to make it just look like glasses. I mean, and you think about how tech savvy the average TA would be at a typical university. Are they going to recognize every model? Once Samsung, LG, HTC, Google themselves with a Nexus device, Huawei or whatever, once they all have glasses
that look just like glasses.
How hard is it going to be? And then there was that cool technology that we talked about last week where augmented reality was going to be done instead of with a screen in front of you by projecting an image into your eyes. So when that hits, along with all this other stuff, I don't know what they're going to do.
There's some interesting things that might be able to happen. Like if Photomath works with different education institutions, maybe they could make it so that if you're on like their... but that would just be public Wi-Fi.
Okay, tell me this. If the guys who are the math geeks already, who are going to do math because they're interested in it and they love it, and if those guys are going to do math anyway, and those are the ones that are really advancing mathematics, do I need to know how to do any of this stuff, or can I just use an app for my whole life?
But you have to make sure, like, that's the Mozart thing as well. The old Mozart question where it has to be, you have to try everyone.
Right.
Because without someone kind of getting into math a little bit, maybe they're like, oh, math is stupid, whatever, I just need to be able to do my taxes, which is actually very applicable for quite a few people.
Lots of people.
Yes. And that's part of the idea where teachers used to be, and they probably still do, oh, well, you won't always carry a calculator in your pocket, and nowadays everyone's like, lol, of course I do, always, because it's on my phone.
That's right.
This could play into that in the future, and that this is another, maybe they utilize this in education, but then part of higher math is understanding how the fundamentals work so you can understand how higher end concepts work. So I don't know, that's a question for education. I think our education system is terrible right now, so someone should probably figure it out. That isn't me, but
great tweet from Peanuts Revenge. Photomath will be a great tool for parents to help their kids with homework.
Yeah.
So when mom and dad understood this umpteen bazillion years ago,
and now it's like, what?
Now it's like I could probably barely do long division the first time around if you put a problem in front of me.
Once you see it once, you'll be fine.
Once I see it once, no problem. So I could use Photomath to just be like, oh crap, how do you do that again? Okay. And then you can really explain it to Junior.
Because you probably still know it's just buried in your head somewhere. So if you can remember, like, that's the first 3 steps. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, first, outside, inside, last, right? Like, if I don't remember something like that.
Yeah. But it's simple, so if you get that cue, you might be able to remember it and then help your kid out. So yeah, that is actually pretty cool. I think it's a cool app. I think it's a good thing. I just, like many good things in life, it's going to be really easy to abuse. I hope people don't abuse it. They will abuse it.
You're a good thing in my life. Your mom can't call me. It's okay. All right, so iPhone 6 catches fire in a man's pocket, allegedly. This was posted on the forum by Tigron, and now...
My BS meter's like...
I was about to say, I'm not sure what the liability implications are of us just completely calling BS on this, but my BS meter is pretty going off the charts here. So, Arizona man suffers second-degree burns when iPhone 6 bends and catches fire in his pocket, he claims. Said his new iPhone 6 bent in half and then burst into flames while it was still in his pocket. He was in a penny cab as his family headed to the football tailgate. They noticed some rickshaw drivers on the street, decided to etc. His wife and 7-year-old son were not thrown out of their seats when the wagon lost its balance and it tipped over something, and that's when his legs started to get hot and something.
So holes that I started noticing almost immediately. One, how is it bent that far if it's in your pocket? Are you kidding me? I think there's a still photo of it, which is probably
I can't find it right now.
It should be just above this, isn't it?
So here's the picture. I don't know. Is there still above this? I might have scrolled past it. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so unless your leg is broken at that angle, I fail to understand how a phone breaks at that angle in your pocket.
Yeah. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then, okay, so he apparently smashed into the sidebar on the penny cab thing, which is, I think, one of those bike...
So that's where the story of it getting bent this way comes from, I guess.
But then he's half on, half off. So he obviously didn't get, crushed there, and then the weight of his wife and his son continually pressed and continually bent it. He hit it, and then must have been half on, half off. And then he's like, oh yeah, I laid down to pull it out of my pocket. If it's that bent, laying down is not going to help you.
Yeah.
At all.
That, and I mean, the whole bend gate thing, I think, is grossly exaggerated. It's not that easy to bend this phone.
Was that a 6 Plus?
This is not a 6 Plus.
Yeah, the 6 Plus is much easier, but this is just a 6,
This is an iPhone 6.
Yeah,
it's
so that's the same phone as that one.
Yeah.
The amount that I believe this is almost non-existent.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't even be talking about this, other than just to say it's, poopy.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, there we go.
We still have Assassin's Creed Unity and all the bullcrap that comes with that.
All right, yeah, let's talk about this. So this was posted by Mindtricks on the forum, and the source is blog.ub.com, so it's about as official as it gets. And the Assassin's Creed Unity minimum specs are dumb. They are super dumb. They are so dumb that it's just too dumb.
They're not dumb awesome.
Dumb, dumb, dumb.
They're dumb stupid.
Okay, so get this. Okay. So processor. Minimum required processor is an i5-2500K or an AMD FX 8350. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, I love that they threw in the Phenom 2 940 because that is so much slower than an i5-2500K that it is not even funny. Like, so much slower.
Oh my god.
So that's a minimum requirement. And then the recommended requirement is a 3770. Now, the funny thing about this is the 3770 supports more threads than an i5-2500K, but actually is not faster in any meaningful way. Not to mention that they also recommend an FX 8350 when it was a minimum requirement. So why did you need to upgrade your Intel CPU and not your AMD CPU? Unless this engine is heavily threaded, which I call complete BS on. If we get more than 3 threads, I will be floored.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
And that i5 has 4 threads, which is fine. And for that matter, that Phenom X4 has 4 threads that are not super duper fast.
Minimum system RAM of 6 gigabytes.
Now that maybe.
I can see that.
I can see that helping in some way. I don't know that it should be the minimum.
Minimum? Yeah.
The
minimums are what are surprising here. The recommended, I never really even cared what they say for recommended.
I think the recommended makes no sense on video card, though.
The minimum makes no sense on video
minimum
card.
makes no... Okay, so here's a couple things about the minimum video card spec that make no sense. Number one is that the GTX 680 is a very, very powerful card. And for that to be the minimum to run the game, based on the gameage I've seen so far, is stupid.
Pathetic.
Also, the GTX 660 Ti is only marginally slower than a GTX 680. So why can't that run it? Why is 680 the cutoff for the minimum? I don't buy it. Okay, number 2.
And sorry, I have to clear up why a large part of the recommended I don't really care about is what is your recommended base off of? Especially with 4K being such a big thing now, to be able to run 4K at fairly high settings at all, you usually do need really powerful systems. So I'm not super surprised that that's happening.
All right, so the recommended one is... sorry, did you just talk about recommended? I tuned out. Okay, so the recommended one, I'm okay with that, especially because if the point of this is, look, we're building a game that's going to really, really push the hardware, so we're just going to recommend basically the highest end thing that exists today, and 780 is pretty darn close. I mean, it's X% behind 780 Ti and 980 or whatever else, but it's pretty much there. We're just going to recommend the highest end thing today, and people might even be able to further leverage the game as time goes on. I'm okay with that, but having a minimum requirement of a 680 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
50 gigs of space, that's becoming par for the course.
Yep. None of the rest of it's really that crazy, except for the supported video cards at time of release.
Yeah, this is just stupid.
This comes into why the 680 is their minimum, because their supported video cards at time of release is 680 or better, 700 series.
And then HD 7970 or better, which is effectively 1.5 generations of AMD graphics cards, because most of the R9 series is...
reskin.
Yeah, just...
So, like, what?
Laptop versions of these cards may work, but are not officially supported. So basically, the minimum requirement just looks like a pure cop-out laziness thing. We are just not going to bother to validate this game on any graphics cards. We are going to put the onus on the graphics card makers to ensure that their cards are compatible with this game going back a couple of generations. Because let's face it, if a GTX 680 runs it, a GTX 590 is going to wreck it.
Yep.
So... Ubisoft
ridiculous
just keeps on digging. They cannot stop digging.
Absolutely ridiculous. The 50 gigabytes of hard drive space, I've seen some people freak out about. I don't even care about that because that's become a norm, and hard drives are pretty cheap, and you should probably be running your games off of hard drives.
Speaking of keep on digging, we actually are planning our next t-shirt design. So I guess I should probably like open with an application of some sort or something. Come on, go faster, you. Yeah, we have our next T-shirt design is Ubisoft inspired.
Because, okay, well, interesting thing while you get that open. We were talking before the show started about how it used to be the hate on Origin and hate on EA.
Yeah, hate on Origin, hate on EA, hate on all of it.
Hate on all that kind of stuff. And then EA seems to have lately been like, whoa, those guys are crazy. Let's just sit back and just see what happens. And they just stopped doing things. No one talks about them because they're not freaking out. And Ubisoft's just throwing dirt around with shovels. So, I don't know. Ridiculous. It's just funny how it used to be the hate on EA show and now it's kind of the hate on Ubisoft show because it's essentially just hate on people that are doing stupid things. When we used to hate on EA, I used to talk about how I liked Ubisoft because I did. I liked a lot of the games that they were releasing. I liked a lot of the stuff that they were doing.
You have a lot of games in your Uplay account. I was logged into it a little while ago because I was benchmarking with his permission.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's all good.
I do because I've generally liked a lot of the games that they've released and it feels like back then, they would solely release games that they felt were solid, good games. And that does not seem to be a thing anymore.
I mean, you've admitted that the first Assassin's Creed wasn't really anything that special.
No, but it also seemed like the team on the game was trying extremely hard. And they might be trying extremely hard now as well. But that's being cut out of the picture by someone chopping up their results and then just giving you part of it. And then being like, you can kind of get the rest, I guess, later. It's like you get served a pizza and they're like, oh, sorry, we took a quarter of it and left it back there. You can get that as well, I guess, if you give us more money, which wasn't listed originally.
Or if servers were allowed to withhold your food until they got their tip.
Here's your burger. You can get your fries once you pay me your tip. But,
Or let me know how much the tip's going to be, and we'll find out if you're getting your drink and your fries and your dessert.
If you buy your drink and then your fries and then your dessert, it's 20% more. If you buy them all at once, it's 20% less.
I'm okay with bundles. They have that. It's called a value meal.
But they don't have that in AAA establishments. There's no value meal in a 5-star restaurant.
Oh, at a 5-star. Okay, sure. Because I was going to say, somewhere like Red Robin, you could argue they have a value meal. Because you can buy fries, although you can't buy a burger without fries. But buying a burger with the fries is a better value than just buying lots of fries. Especially because the fries are bottomless anyway. So if you bought lots of fries at Red Robin, you're basically
Red Robin's
an idiot.
the complete opposite.
All right, so here it is. Design! Woo! So that's going to be on the front of probably a black shirt. And we're going to launch this, I think, WAN show next week. We'll have the Teespring campaign up. And
I'm getting one of those.
It's going to be one of those kinds of things. We're not putting a Ubisoft logo all over it or anything. It's going to be more of an inside joke. But I think Keep On Digging is just kind of I don't know.
It's become a thing. And you know what? If Ubisoft gets out of the target, if they stop doing stupid things and someone else starts doing stupid things,
still wear the shirt.
If EA starts taking up the mantle again, maybe we'll keep saying Keep On Digging for them. Currently, they're not.
Or if Microsoft does a bunch of really stupid stuff for a bit, then...
Which is probably going to happen.
It'll happen at some point.
Yep. So, yeah, it's more multi-purpose. But for now, it's standing for them.
All right, so this was posted by Amorous... something of pixels, anyway. Original articles from Popular Mechanics, and the thread title on the forum, I have to agree with so much, is I have lost faith in humanity or something like that.
Officially done with humanity.
Officially done with humanity. A Comic Sans typewriter has been created. So there you go. And remember, guys, this is not as simple as just putting Comic Sans on the keys. They actually had to create the metal arms with Comic Sans print on the end so that you could... The sincerity machine. I hadn't even noticed that before. So if you thought the world needed a Comic Sans typewriter, A, go jump in a fire, and B, there's officially a typewriter for you. You know what the funny thing is I'm making fun of Comic Sans and jump in a fire and all that. I used nothing but Comic Sans pink, bold, italicized for the entire time that MSN Messenger existed.
I know.
Yep. Oh yeah, I used to chat with you on MSN.
Yeah.
Yep. Fuchsia, Comic Sans.
Why did they take MSN away?
I love MSN. It should come back. Speaking of things that...
Skype is inferior in so many different ways.
The entire internet has blown up over Smash Bros. For Wii U.
God.
Nintendo apparently wants to sell 100 bazillion copies of this game because they are making it look freaking amazing.
Yep.
8-player Smash is the headline, but honestly, there are a dozen other features. They did, what was it, like a 15-minute video with 50 features of Smash Wii U that are just all of which are good, and many of which are just blowing the minds of the entire internet.
I'm so stoked.
So, do you want to do some highlights here?
There's a bunch of different things. If you can use your DS as a controller, we already knew that. But if you bring your character over that you created on your DS side, it brings everything with it, which is actually really cool.
And not just you can use your DS as a controller. You can use pretty much any controller you want, unless you're like want to use a Sega Genesis controller for some reason, like GameCube, classic controller, Wiimote, Nunchuck, Wii U controller, 2DS, like
all of the different controllers.
I think it's 3DS only, isn't it?
2DS or 3DS.
Okay.
All of the different Pro controllers, Nunchuck, normal Wiimote.
Absolutely bananas.
Things. There's the 8-player Smash, 7-player Smash, there's whatever you want to do.
4-player online.
Yeah,
yep,
only 4-player online. And certain maps won't be playable online as well because they have these massive maps now for 8-player Smash, which I'm actually super excited for. That looks super cool.
Yeah, they have maps with 2 planes.
Yeah. So there's the foreground and the background. They have, what is it even called? It's like, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it looks like a tabletop mode. And you play this kind of board game, and whenever your characters on the board run into each other, it creates a Smash battle. And while you're going around the board game, you collect different characters and stuff. And in the final battle, your stock count, so your lives, is based on how many what characters you have. So when you die, you just sort out, which is actually super cool. I'm excited to play that. If you have a bunch of people over, that could actually be a lot of fun. Which is exactly why I like Nintendo.
And yeah, did I even mention already 1080p 60 FPS?
So epic.
Yeah, that needed more than one of those. I did it so many times I'm blurry. That's how owned everyone else got by Nintendo with Super Smash.
And there was a ton of other really cool announcements as well.
Yeah, you guys should definitely check out the video. It is worthwhile because it looks fantastic. Team battles with up to 4 teams. That's going to be cool. Bananas. I mean, it's going to be like Risk alliances, like friend-breaking stuff, but Smash Brothers.
One thing that I really liked was just how they announced the 8-player Smash. Because they're like, 5 people. So now if you're the 5th wheel, it's fine. Also, by the way, 6 people. Also, by the way, 8 people. It's like, oh my god. It's like keep on blowing my mind over and over again.
It's like watching Sesame Street. It's like 5, 6 players,
Yeah,
love it.
Pretty stoked.
All right, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for. Did you want to do the system builds of the week that I missed for 2 weeks in a row?
I would love to do system builds in the week that you missed for 2 weeks in a row, but the link that was added to the doc totally doesn't work at all.
Okay, next week.
So
next week,
I don't know what to do about this.
Oh,
I was not emailed.
We're supposed to draw the
we have to draw the 980.
Zotac 980 winner. Yeah, let's do that. That's fun.
If someone can figure out how to get me those, that would be great. The link in the doc doesn't work at all, and I don't have an email from it, so I can't do anything about it.
I have this. Does this look right?
That is a thing. We can preferably use the forum, but if the forum is not working, we can use this.
Okay, let's just use this then. Does that work?
Yeah, so what this is Ghost created a script which works kind of in conjunction with all of the scripts that the mod team have created and all of that awesomeness, which we are removing duplicated posts from the thread, and then this script goes through and indexes all of them. So you can find the end of it and then do a random between 1 and the last entry on there. And then if you just Control F for that number, you'll have your winner.
Let's do this thing then. So 1,200,
no one can
12,300, yeah, that's okay. 12,354 entries. Okay, and let's go ahead and share my screen. So we're going to move this so you guys can actually see it this time. And, in the meantime, we want you guys to think about this and start hitting up at Luke_LAFR on Twitter with some suggestions, because we are doing a $130 motherboard roundup spectacular. This is going to be a multi-part video, and we're not going to be looking at performance. So put that out of your mind.
That's specifically what we're not looking for.
Yeah, we're not looking for that. Overclocking, we might briefly validate that they all kind of get to the same level, but they all do that anyway. We're not going to be looking at overclocking. We're not going to be looking at performance. We're going to be looking at usability. So some examples would be things like How fast are their download servers when you're looking for your new drivers, when you build your rig? Examples like for USB BIOS updates, how easy is the process? How's compatibility of the back USB ports with a variety of USB drives when you're reading off of it in order to flash your BIOS? We're going to be looking for how good is the experience of this motherboard, because really that's what I think is more important than performance these days, where they're all pretty darn similar.
One thing I even want to look into is like how many clicks to do certain different things.
Right.
Like just how efficient is it to use?
How efficient is the BIOS to navigate?
Yeah.
Great example. If you need to change to RAID mode on your SATA controller or whatever else, like I think we won't look at it that granularly when we actually do the video, but that's what the evaluation will be based on, is how navigable is the thing.
Yeah.
All right, so the winner is 3015. Let's go ahead over to 3015, 3015. No, I want the other one. 3015. There it is. BarryPrestonSladeJr. So let's go ahead and find BarryPrestonSladeJr. on the forum. The lucky winner. Which, of course, has to be claimed through the forum so that we can actually contact you. Sorry?
Please be working. Yay! Okay. This is probably not going to work. Not going to work at all.
Oh yeah, that
you're
search
probably going to have
field.
to use your other view, and you're not going to want to look right now because you're not streaming. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. I'm okay.
Yeah,
Everything is okay.
Here.
Oh, here. There we go. Boop. And let's just go ahead and have a look. There you go. Oh, hey! Everyone always complains when it's a one-post wonder who wins. This time, it is a 14-post wonder who
Hopefully
actually has, like, his profile filled out and, like, was
cool.
last active today.
Awesome.
So there you go. We managed to pick a winner who is someone who, even though they don't post a lot...
The last active thing, I think, matters almost more than anything else.
Yep.
Because that's showing... Because I don't care, honestly, if you post it all.
Yep.
If you're on the forum and you're reading everything, that's super cool, too.
Yep, everything's cool. I mean, posting is great because helping other people is, like, what it's all about. But being someone who was on the forum 2 hours ago, so is an active forum member, even if maybe not the most active contributor, I think is super cool.
Yeah, me too.
So we're going to push build logs to... Oh, did you find them?
Got it. So
Are we good?
forwarding
Okay.
to you now.
Well, hold on. No, it's okay. You just...
I don't have a viewer installed. Forwarding to you.
Are you sure you don't have PowerPoint on that?
Yep, I checked. Well, I didn't check.
Are you sure? Can you double check? Yeah. You do not. Alrighty then. I will deal with it.
It was forwarded to you now, so...
Okay.
Should have that.
My download speeds are terrible.
Yeah, I don't
the
know
access
what's going
point
on
is
right
too
now.
far away. Although, actually, I have something interesting to tell you.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was super stoked.
So this is an this is a $1,000 access point. Yeah. This is the R700. This is their highest end access point.
I never looked into how much it costs because I didn't want to know.
It is a $1,000 access point, and I am going to be having we're going to be looking at a series of videos about this. And the way that we're going to be approaching this is an enterprise grade. This is like for airports.
Ruckus is badass.
Ruckus is some serious stuff. So the way that we're going to be looking at this Ruckus gear is high-end, very high-end enthusiasts. Don't blink twice about spending $700 on a graphics card. Some of them will even spend that much times 3, and they'll buy 3 graphics cards. High-end wireless equipment is something that you can actually get multiple generations out of, the same way that you can with something like a monitor, especially now that development has slowed down so much on it. And if you were to look at it and go, okay, instead of investing in 3-way SLI, I'm going to skip a generation, I'm going to put a controller and a couple of really high-end access points in my house, I want to look at what the benefit will actually be. So I'll be taking a real-world scenario, in this case, a house, and I will be putting a controller and 2 of these access points in it, and having a look at how it compares to one central AP, the way that most people do it today, with just your router access point combo unit. I'm going to be looking at it compared to Ubiquiti, because I have those AC access points that were doing really well for me at first, but now I'm having actually a lot of problems with. I had to RMA both of my first ones.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And then we're going to move to Ruckus, and we're going to see what range looks like throughout the house with really demanding applications, things like Nvidia Game Stream, and have a look at if it really makes a difference and if something like that is worthwhile. So that's going to be a really interesting video. And at the same time,
cool.
I'm going to do it in my house because that way I can justify upgrading to Cat 6 all over my house at the same time.
So this is his ruse to jack $1,000 access point.
I could mount anything to that access point mount there.
Ridiculous.
I can promise this. I can promise when we move, we will get some kind of managed multiple access point system at the new place.
We'll need one at the new place.
We will need one at the new place. Yeah. So what was I talking about now?
We're going build logs. So you have that
build
right
logs,
there at the top.
Oh, I should have been downloading that. That was my whole concept.
I thought you were actually on. That's unfortunate. Oh well.
Hold on. See. I think there's just one button. Download.
That downloads it in a zip.
That's okay. I can unzip for you.
No, I don't know if that's cute or dirty.
Oh, it's
maybe
both. we need a shirt for cute and dirty too.
Yeah.
Cute and dirty, and it should be like a CPU with like thermal compound.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's awesome. That's kind of funny.
That's actually pretty good. I'm dirty with like a CPU that hasn't been cleaned off. I kind of like that. We should probably do that. All right.
I'll fire it to Nick while that's downloading.
Sure, thank you. Wow, I can't believe how many more people watch the show when you're around. We peaked at like 5,500 viewers today, when with you gone, I think we peaked at around 4,500. So you're officially still justifiable as a Linus Media Group employee.
That was close.
Good job. The thing about employees or like team members, any team member, me included, is like the real test is not what they do when they're around.
So what happens when they're not?
It's how hard it is to compensate when they're not around. How valuable is that person? Well, if I just about die when they're gone for a week, then I guess they should probably still work here.
My metric was when you guys missed an upload. I was like, whoa.
When you were gone?
Yeah.
No, we didn't miss a day.
I thought you did.
No.
I was pretty sure you did.
No, what we did was we started delaying the release till 4 hours. Yep. No, we didn't miss one. That schedule just got bumped 4 hours, and we could easily pull it in 4 hours.
Yeah, okay.
Everything is okay.
I thought you guys missed a video. I was like, okay, that hasn't happened in, like, what? That made no sense.
The one time that happened was something where we were preparing content for a trip, and that product ended up being embargoed, and we didn't know.
Yeah.
And so
that didn't really count.
That
in my opinion.
Sort of didn't count, even though we did officially miss an upload day. But then we do event coverage where we do multiples in a day, so we're averaging more than one a day for over 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I am having a little trouble understanding why this is multiple PowerPoint.
You should only actually
files.
need 2. I think what they've been doing, because we were wondering about this last time, but if I remember correctly, what they're doing is they send the whole file and they send just the presentation versions.
Okay.
So you can change things if you want, or you can just use what should be the smaller ones. So it's 2 and 3 is what you're looking for. There's no 1. So you need 2 and you need 3.
Okay. All right, well, here's the first one. I've officially figured this out now. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure whatever's in the background here is not something that needs to not be in the background of our videos. All right, here we go. Linus's screen share.
No, it doesn't look like they included...
Project Rained On.
Who won which one. So I don't think it says who this was voted through. I don't know if this was voted for by the mods or if this was voted by the community.
Okay, well, we can conclude that they definitely won a Build of the Month award. Okay, so pretty high-end specs. Wow, that's kind of badass.
Kingpin classified. That's sick.
I love these hardware shots. And it's like, here's all the stuff that I'm going to put into one very small place very soon. Really like this. These SSD mounts look really cool. Cable management on the back.
Oh, that looks good.
Inside looks really good here, though. You know what? We're actually going to look into... I really like this whole straight line thing, but what I don't really like is having to use fittings for it, like this. having to use angled fittings and soft tubing to achieve it. So we'll be looking into doing some kind of a build log or build guide with hard tubing sometime in the near future. I shouldn't say near future. Sometime in the future that will happen. Because oil-cooled machine is happening first. That is happening. We have started that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I could say that or not. We have started that and done actually a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be friggin' awesome.
Whoa.
So here's our second one.
This laptop's doing some funky stuff right now. But no, don't worry about it. We're good.
Okay, so ROG Maximus 6 Extreme, GTX 780 SLI, Elite Corsair SP120 Quiet Edition fans, and lots of... Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Wow, that case.
That is sick.
I like it.
I almost like the raw more than the black.
Me too, actually. Mind you,
Whoa,
that's all right.
Maybe not. Okay, this one's nice. I'm assuming what happened was the last one was voted for by the mods, and this one was voted for by the community. The community really likes them super clean builds.
Super perfect builds. God. Wow. Look at this reservoir. I love it. It looks like a freaking reactor thing, like stasis module plumbed upness.
That's great.
Absolutely love it. What a great build. All right. So thanks for tuning into the WAN show, guys. We'll see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace out.
Bye. Definitely doing an after party this week, and there's going to be some funky stuff happening, just so you guys know.
Dang it.
What's going on? Oh, yeah. You did. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the one with no sound. Well, screw it. We'll do.
Maybe if I clench hard enough. Nope, I'm dead.
We ready to do this? Okay, we were a little late on the sound effect, but whatever. You guys get the point. All right, thanks for watching. See you next week. We're done here.
Bye.